Welcome to SAT TV's news. I am Larry LaRock, your presenter. In our top stories, Claude says his promotion is God's blessing. The handshake seen around the world, US and Cuba. India's Supreme Court declares homosexual sex illegal. Details of these will follow. SAT Telecommunications Limited is in the process of reorganizing our channels. In this endeavor, some channels will be off temporary and new ones will be introduced. SAT Telecommunications Limited is pleased to inform you of a number of new channels. We have just added for your viewing pleasure Lifetime Movie Channel, Lifetime Real Women, Discovery Civilization, Discovery Science, Discovery Turbo, and many other new ones to come. We are sure that you will enjoy the new programming, which will enhance your viewing pleasure and provide you with many more channels. SAT Telecoms thanks you for your continuous support and understanding throughout this initiative, and we will keep you informed as the changes occur. Welcome back. Newtown native and author Miss Mara Etienne has finally completed her first book with the help of illustrator Aaron Hamilton, publisher Mario Pocoyo, and the Ministry of Education in Dominica. The Ministry of Education, along with Dr. Gregory Rabez and Kiwana Fountain, aided in the Creole aspects of the book, ensuring its authentic Dominican dialogue. Ms. Mara Etienne, author of I Am Dominica, Moise Dominic, says she was inspired to write the book because of her son and a yearning to read to him Caribbean-themed stories.
Because when we look around on the bookshelves in Roseau or even in the Caribbean, we see very few books written by Caribbean authors, especially children's books. So I decided, why not write a book that my son can appreciate, where he can actually learn more about his culture and his heritage.
The intention was to write a children's book. However, given its Creole and English content, it serves as a book for adults as well. After liaising with the illustrator and publisher, and after finalizing the manuscript, a total of a year and a half was spent completing the new book.
Mario Pocoyo, my publisher, he has a project which he calls One Book Per Child, where he liaises with writers, illustrators, librarians, government officials throughout the Caribbean, where we decide to do a book per island. And for Dominica, being that Dominica was its first introduction into the project, we decided to do a book that would familiarize readers with Dominica. Readers who probably had no idea where Dominica is or even what culture, is in Dominica.
Publisher Mario Pocoyo is originally from Cuba, but lives and works in New York, USA.
I grew up in the Virgin Islands, lived in Puerto Rico as well, and have been traveling the Caribbean with an initiative to create books or assist local writers and illustrators to create their own books. I think culture, education, literacy should be in the hands of the people.
Mr. Pocoyo said that Miss Etienne has a head full of stories and is confident that she will continue to write books.
Therefore, the reception has been great in the diaspora. We're getting orders for the first time in all the books that we created for the Caribbean. This book has gotten orders from Guyana, from Norway, from England, from, of course, Canada, from New York, and probably other places that I am forgetting right now. But it has been a huge response from the moment that they found out that I Am Dominica was written.
Miss Etienne says this is the first of many books to come. I Am Dominica, Moise Dominic can be purchased at bookstores in and around Roseau, as well as tourist information offices and at the Pioneer Preparatory. The book will be promoted at the launch of the Dominica Reading Association on Friday 13th December at the UWI Open Campus. In other stories, the body is the temple of God. That statement sums up the opposing point of Apostle Dr. Danny Esprit on a discussion to introduce a legislation to legalize marijuana. During the first forum of the school year, hosted by the Dominica State College's Journalism Club, Dr. Esprit debated the topic, legislation of marijuana, overdue law or overdone myth.
God's laws or stipulations are not grievous, but they are for our safety and for our protection. One such law is that we must not become drunk or intoxicated with substances like alcohol or marijuana.
Dr. Esprit recited a verse from the Bible explaining the dangers of the overuse of drugs or alcohol.
In the book of 1 Kings chapter 20, from verses 16 to 20, we read about the king of Syria, who around 874 BC lost a battle in the war between Syria and Israel due to him being intoxicated. Perhaps if he was sober and if he was under the propulsion of his own will, he would have won the battle. But unfortunately for him, because of his drunken frolic, he was defeated. Throughout Scripture, we are warned about the dangers of becoming intoxicated.
The apostle said that he is firmly opposed to the idea of legislation for marijuana because, like alcohol, its legalization will only lead to more abuse and more negative repercussions. He said the Bible clearly states that we will be punished if we defy the temple of the Lord. So then he asks, should we not seek to respect and preserve God's temple? He urged the students to take heed of the admonitions of the Bible and say no to drugs. Meanwhile, former magistrate and attorney Tiani Bianzin advised the participants not to be swayed by the rhetoric of his gracious colleagues.
There is this hysteria about marijuana. We must accept that. There's a hysteria about marijuana. People get excited. The law as it stands now, which is an amended act, looks at three things. And the first is to deter the use of marijuana, to deter the supplying of marijuana, as they say in the courts, intent to supply, and ultimately to deter the cultivation of marijuana. So,
Mr. Bianzin says that the introduction of marijuana here in Dominica is very historical. It was the migration of the plant from Jamaica that brought it to the island in the early years. The approach to the drug by law enforcement, he believes, is hysteria.
this is a country without any legislation that controls the conduct of an officer or any law enforcement in the manner in which investigations are carried out. It seems to me that once there's marijuana involved, all reasonableness exposes and leaves our mind.
He says marijuana needs to be distinguished from all other drugs including alcohol, cocaine and heroin, as they do not present the same effects. The investment possibilities that can come from the sale of marijuana would be enough to finance education, he noted. Police Public Relations Officer John Carbon and Attorney at Law Henry Shillingford, who have been an advocate for the legalization of the plant, was also part of the panel discussion. In more news, the Kiwanis Club of Roseau is gearing up for its 22nd annual High Schools Debate Competition. All but one high school has confirmed its participation in the 2014 debate session. In order to kickstart the debates and continue to elevate the level of intellectual argument and discourse among young people, the club began hosting a debaters workshop on Wednesday, December 11th at the UWI Open campus. Schools will be represented by 4 prospective debaters as well as a teacher. Students will have sessions on how to debate and will engage in practice debates and interact with each other in the spirit of friendly competition. The debates are scheduled for January 15th, round 1, February 12th, round 2, March 12th, semi-finals and finals, which will be held on April 16th. The Kiwanis Club of Roseau is proud to continue its tradition of engaging the young people in Dominica in topical yet structured discussions. Special thanks goes out to the many business houses that have come on board every year to assist in this endeavor. In other stories, a total of 14 police officers have been promoted, according to Chief of Police Daniel Carbon, on Wednesday, December 11, 2013. According to the Chief, the Police Service Commission met and made appointments to fill some vacant spots within the police force. They have also made some acting appointments. As a result, Endworth Irish was promoted to the rank of Superintendent of Police, and Claude Weeks is now Assistant Superintendent of Police. Acting Superintendent of Police is now Davidson Valerie, while Matthew Coffey is Acting Assistant Superintendent of Police. Clem Bruno and Emmanuel James were promoted to the post of inspector, while Vince Christmas and Johnson Williams are now acting inspectors. In continuing with the promotions, Cornelius Francis, Vincent O'Brien, Pelham John Baptist, and Innocent Tousse were promoted to the rank of sergeant, while Edwin Francis and Harold Laura are now acting sergeants. In congratulating the newly promoted police officers, Mr. Cabon was satisfied with the appointment, said, "They have all been working hard." He advised them to love and respect the people of Dominica and warned them to never verbally or physically abuse them. In related stories, the newly promoted Assistant Superintendent of Police Claude says this promotion will afford him with the opportunity to further exercise his skills as a police officer. In an exclusive interview with SAT TV News, he thanked the relevant authorities who saw the qualities in him to be appointed to such a high position and those who made the necessary recommendations.
And indeed it's because of my conscientious work there and working with dignity and a very honest man. Of course, we are not perfect, but at the end of the day, it's about serving the citizenry. Yes, it's a privilege to serve the citizenry, my fellow men, and that is with a view to enhancing their quality of life. I'm doing it from the field of policing, and as a police officer for the past 30 years, having left the Dominica Grammar School as a welfare child, I must tell you, because I really came from humble beginnings. Indeed, it's a tremendous and phenomenal feat to be an assistant superintendent of police. That is indeed God's work. I've gone through the hills, the valleys. There were times in my career that I was marginalized, perhaps, But I guess this is all part of the package. It's about working harder.
He said, as police officers, they must remain focused, notwithstanding the pressures of turbulence that they will face traveling through life. ASP Weeks said his promotion was truly a gift from God, the same as when he was promoted to the rank of inspector 9 years ago.
Strategically placed me in the police department to ensure that I fulfill my mandate optimally, and that is for the benefit of the citizenry, the benefit of my fellow men, so that God himself will get the glory and the honor. So really, like I said, it's really a privilege. I'm indeed humble. So while I'm elated, while I'm ecstatic about the promotion, that is one thing. The next thing is to continue to deliver the goods in a sustained way, because some people can get promoted and they become lukewarm. In police jargon, they start to get slack and give up the ghost, if you like. But I think it's about continuing to work, since God continues to bless me with health, with strength, with wisdom, knowledge, understanding, a sound mind and body, to ensure that I am an asset in this country, in the land of the living. So like I said, coming from humble beginnings, I tell you, it has not been easy for me. And
the promotion now sees him in charge of the Roseau Police Station, a huge challenge he is prepared to conquer. He has also been challenged to mold young police officers to ensure they understand the mandate of the police force and execute their responsibilities professionally.
My fellow police officers who are aspiring, don't give up. Everybody cannot be promoted at the same time. Sometimes promotion, let us say, due before now, if you like, but God's timing is the best timing. I know perhaps one can say maybe I could have been promoted a long time. I'm not concerned about whether I've been promoted a long time or promoted now. I'm only concerned about my God and delivering the goods and serving my fellow men, the citizens of this country, without fear or favor. I'm bold and do it with a passion, with love, with respect, with flexibility, with discretion, at the same time with firmness, so that it is with a view to minimizing the impact of criminality on our people, but more so in this country.
In more news, reading and modern technology does not have to clash, but can work hand in hand as it relates to educating oneself. This is according to Professor of Education in the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at the College of Education and Human Development at University of Massachusetts Boston, Dr. Ronald F. Flippo. Dr. Flippo is the Board of Directors liaison for the IRA, International Reading Association. It's currently in Dominica as the country seeks to be a member of the IRA.
We are a worldwide literacy organization concerned with literacy throughout the world. We have approximately 65,000 members all over the world, and we are very excited about what is going on here in Dominica and with the opportunities that Dominica will be offering and is offering their teachers and the children and the people of this country. I'm also a professor, a full professor at the University of Massachusetts Boston in Massachusetts, in New England of the United States, where I teach teachers how to assess students' reading and strengths and reading strategies and reading needs. I also teach teachers as much as possible about doing research and education in all areas.
Dr. Flippo says during her stay here, she will visit a number of schools where she will educate the teachers and students on reading. She has recently finalized the publication of a 17th textbook for teachers to aid them in assessing the reading of their students. Dr. Flippo says she will be speaking at the official launch of the Dominica Reading Association, scheduled to take place on Friday, December 13 from 9 a.m. at the UWI Open Campus on Emsall Road.
We have everything that anybody would want to know about reading, and all types of online features and online supports. So we have journals that are published. Some people call them magazines, but they're professional journals, and we actually do have one magazine, and so there are 4 of them. There's one called The Reading Teacher, and that one is for teachers of very young children through the primary grades, probably children up to about 11, 12 years old. Then we have another journal called the Journal of Adolescent and Adult Literacy, which is aimed at older children over 12 years old, teachers and children who work with, in the U.S. we call them middle schools, high schools, but certainly the upper grades.
The IRA was established 50 years ago and focused on promoting worldwide literacy through establishing councils and working with teachers, communities, parents, families, and children worldwide.
I think that technology and all that it provides us works hand in hand with reading. The technology does not unpromote reading. When you're using technology, you're reading. You're reading on a computer. I think it's an opportunity. Technology is an opportunity to get more information out about the importance of literacy, and I think the only problem is that we need more libraries, more bookstores, more opportunities for people to enjoy books and use books for information. And so if there's a problem, the problem is in assisting people with their literacy needs and encouraging people to read as much as possible.
She went on to say, every individual should make it their point of duty to engage in more literacy activities. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.